The whole time. I try to sit and I just can't do it. I have to walk. So if I step on you, just be like, excuse me, you've stepped on me. But I hope you don't experience that. All right, the story we're going to read today is called The 10th Good Thing About Barney. And this is a super, super special book. I want you to just, I'm going to kind of like move it around a little bit, and I want you just to take a quick little glance at the cover and just think in your mind. Don't say it out loud because I don't want you interrupting your neighbor's thoughts. But I want you to look at the cover and tell me what you kind of think this story might be about. Take a look. Yeah? Are you looking, or are you looking at your shoe? Because I think your brain's more important right now, not your shoe, okay?
My family?
Think it in your mind.
Good experience.
Don't interrupt your neighbor's thinking. Don't say it out loud. Got it? Let's think about that title. The 10th Good Thing About Barney. Who do you think Barney might be in this story? Think in your mind for a second. Don't say it out loud. You look kind of curious. What are you thinking?
Maybe it's a guy.
Barney's a person in the story? Okay, probably a character. That's right.
The
Dad? Anybody notice anything special about the front of this? Okay. Yes?
Well, they're taking a ride.
I'm noticing a family that's all kind of holding hands, and they're kind of looking off into the distance. Makes me curious. The 10th good thing about Barney. And the interesting thing about books, authors usually introduce us to some characters and tell us really important information on the first page, and that's kind of like this story. So listen carefully to these words. My cat Barney died last Friday. I was very sad. Does that tell us about Barney? Yep. Who's Barney?
The cat.
Yeah, Barney was the cat. That part of the story just automatically, we were talking about connections. That part of the story automatically makes me think of like Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving we just had. My cat disappeared. And we'd had that cat for 7 years. So my heart automatically feels super sad, and I can understand what that character's feeling. Oh, and Nick, you're making the sign for connection. Fantastic. So I'm going to write my cat disappeared. And if you've had an experience like that, then you can probably understand the character also. Let me start again. My cat Barney died last Friday. I was very sad. I cried and I didn't watch television. I cried and I didn't eat my chicken or even the chocolate pudding. I went to bed and I cried. You guys are going to make some really awesome connections, but right now I want you to keep them in your head. Just store those in there because I'm going to ask you to tell me about those in a minute, okay? My mother sat down on my bed and she gave me a hug. She said we could have a funeral for Barney in the morning. She said I should think of 10 good things about Barney so I could tell them at the funeral. Is it an emergency?
No, I just noticed something about the cover. I knew Pet died because I saw the dad holding the shovel when they were in like the middle of a garden.
Good noticing. I thought and I thought and I thought of good things about Barney. I thought of 9 good things. Then I fell asleep. In the morning, my mother wrapped Barney in a yellow scarf. My father buried Barney in the ground by a tree in the yard. Annie, my friend from next door, came over with flowers. And I told good things about Barney. Barney was brave, I said, and smart and funny and clean, also cuddly and handsome, and he once ate a bird. It was sweet, I said, to hear him purr in my ear, and sometimes he slept on my belly and kept it warm. Sleeping on my belly and keeping it warm automatically makes me think of my cat, because my cat would sleep with me every single night right by my side. And then in the morning, when my alarm clock would go off, he would come up with his paw and hit me on the nose till I shut my alarm off, because he couldn't stand the sound of it. Kind of funny. So I'm gonna make a note of that. My cat didn't like my what? My alarm. Those are all good things, said my mother, but I just count 9. I said I would try to think of another one later. At the end of the funeral, we sang a song for Barney. We couldn't remember any cat songs, so we sang one about a pussy willow. Even my father knew the words. Then Annie and I went into the kitchen with Mother. She gave us some orange juice and butter cookies, and she left the box. I gave my seconds to Annie. I miss Barney, I said. Annie said Barney was in heaven with lots of cats and angels drinking cream and eating cans of tuna. I said Barney's in the ground. Heaven, said Annie, heaven. So there. The ground, I told her. The ground. You don't know anything. My father came in from the yard and took a cookie. Big-mouthed Annie said heaven again. I said ground. Tell her who's right, said Father. I asked Father. She doesn't know anything. Maybe Barney's in heaven, my father began. Aha, said Annie and stuck out her tongue at me. And maybe, said my father, Barney isn't. What did I tell you, I said, and I yanked Annie's braid. Father made me let go. We don't know too much about heaven, he told Annie. We can't be absolutely sure it's there. But if it is there, said Annie in her absolutely sure voice, it's bound to have room for Barney and tuna and cream. She finished another cookie and went back home. My father told me he had to work in the garden. I said that I would help, but only a little. I told him I didn't like it, that Barney was dead. He said, why should I like it? It's sad, he said. He told me that it might not feel so sad tomorrow, though. My father had a packet of little brown seeds. He shook out some on his hand. The ground will give them food and a place to live, he said. Soon they'll grow a stem and some leaves and flowers. So there she is, out digging in the dirt with her dad. I squeezed the packet open and looked down to the bottom. I told him, I don't see any leaves. I don't see any flowers. Do you notice those things on seeds? Do seeds already have stems and leaves and flowers? You have to what? Things change in the ground, said my father. In the ground, it changes everything. Barney, will he change too? I asked. Yes, said my father. He will change until he's part of the ground in the garden. And then I asked, will he help to make flowers and leaves? He will, said my father. He'll help grow the flowers and he'll help grow that tree and some grass. You know, he said, that's a pretty nice job for a cat. My father and I planted all of the seeds in the garden. Mother made sandwiches and we ate them under the tree. After lunch, we worked in the garden some more. At night, I still didn't want to watch television. When I turned out the light, my mother sat down on my bed. She gave me a hug and I said I had something to tell her. I think you know what